Hey everybody, Mark Zachary with Real Estate Pros of Houston. But we have a unique situation today. We have a guest by the name of Holly Bittick, and I hope I pronounced that right. If not, she can correct me in a minute. But we're glad to have her. She is a rock star of a real estate agent, does some business here in Houston, but also does the majority, I guess, of her work in the Dallas area. So even though this podcast is Real Estate Pros of Houston, she is a pro in Houston and Dallas. So it's great to have her on the podcast. And Holly, introduce yourself, and we just thank you very much for spending some time with us today. And you'll be shocked at how fast 30 to 40 minutes goes. So we'll try to keep it about 45 minutes or so. But thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Mark. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invite to do this. I'm excited. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We'll upload the video to YouTube. You can share it out with all of your social media sites and things like that. And hopefully it'll help you get some exposure. It'll certainly help you get some exposure down here in the Houston area as well, because we put it out on all of our sites. So anyway, so I always like to lead off the podcast with the best question ever, and it is, Holly, tell me your story. How did you end up in the real estate business? Where are you from? How long have you been doing this? Kind of tell us your story, not just on the business side of things, but personal part of the story. And then I'm going to ask a few questions as we go, based on what you have to say in your story.
Okay. Well, it kind of blows some people's minds. I mean, I started out needing an apartment back in 1988 because I had, needed to get out from the house, and I became a leasing agent for an apartment community.
Okay.
And within a year, I became a manager. So I was a manager before I was 19, and then I elevated at 27 years old to a director of marketing and training. And then I have spent pretty much, as a director of operations for a developer and mixed use developments and high-rise buildings over here in Dallas. So I had a very lucrative 30-year career in property management. And so I originally got my real estate license in the 90s, back before it was all electronic, back before there were computers, back before there was anything like that. So I remember taking it on a Scantron, doing the whole, whole thing like that, like, whoa, okay. And I remember being the second person to get up from the big group at the UTA testing center. And I thought, oh my gosh, I went through this test so quickly. I don't know. But then I thought, I got to stick with my gut. I'm getting it. And I passed my real estate exam. So I was only 23 at the time when I passed the real estate exam. And then I continued to, I did a little bit of apartment locating back in the day in the 90s, and then continued my, career in property management. Loved doing that. So I ended up in 2015, I got my real estate license activated again, and then still didn't really sell real estate or do that. I still was in property management because, it's scary. It's scary to be like, okay, I've got this big salary in my business in property management.
Right.
Property management companies will not let you have an active license in multifamily because they think that you're going to basically try to do some, business with the current customers they have living there. So they don't want you to have an active. And so my husband's in a band, and there's a story to this. My husband's a drummer in a band.
Is that right?
Yeah, he is. He is.
You just gave me a whole new avenue to go down here in a few minutes. So
picture right here. He's
okay.
Awesome drummer. So he's in a band, a successful band that's a tribute to the band the Eagles, which
Oh yeah.
In the 70s and 80s, like I did, born in 1970. You know all this music. So the lead singer, who is basically the Glenn Fry of the band, his wife is a real estate agent. And so as the wives, as we call ourselves, Desperitas to the Desperados is the name of the band, Desperado. She kept asking me for like a year, Holly, you need to come, work with my broker who's in Houston, and you're gonna just kill it in this market or whatever, and do what you need to do. And so I was scared at first to leave my salary, but then I decided that after Texas had the ice storm and I ended up doing contract work for a property for 6 months, it was just brutal for me. And I said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to commit. And my husband was finally on board with me going straight commission. And I'm like, can you float us for a little bit? Get some more gigs with Desperado. Let's get this going because I don't want to go back. And so I ended up joining with, at first, I didn't join with her. I joined with Dallas Luxury Realty. And I basically had to do everything myself. I mean, my story is really for a newbie agent, not having a website, not having a CRM, not having any leads, having to do everything myself. I used my 30-year business experience in graphic artist and social media experience, because I'm also a certified social media manager, to be able to generate for my business. So the first thing I did was I loaded up my social media as a realtor. And at first it became Sleek Spaces Dallas, and then I changed it to Explore Living Dallas. So I basically hustled to get all of my leads from social media, and that's what I did. And so I sold my first house by somebody wanting an apartment for like $1,600 a month, and I'm like, that's not even. Wanting a house for $1,600 a month. I'm like, you can't get a house in Dallas for $1,600 a month.
Or if you can, you don't want to live there, right?
Right, you don't want to live there. So and so it turned out that he's a fireman, and I'm like, just on my own experience, I'm like, do you not realize that there are loans out there for you as a veteran, as a fireman, and you could get a house? And I just started working it that way, and next thing you know, he became my very first client to sell a house to over here in Royce City. So then my friend Samantha that got me to join her brokerage because I wasn't having any luck with my other one. I joined with her, and so they have a national home rental company that's a client. And I thought, well, how perfect is this? My background's property management. I totally know their business, so I can really work for this client and do that. So, of course, this begins in January of 2022. So it's only been a year.
Yeah.
To the day, right? Almost a little over.
Yeah, exactly.
I start writing offers for this buyer, and again, I know that the investors were going a little crazy in the market, but this investor, as a home rental company, you have specific things that you need to look out for. There can't be any HOA restrictions. They're not going to overbid like everybody else was. They're not going to overbid by $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 because they need to make a return on their investment. So, at the end of the day, as a buyer's rep in a seller's market, I had to sell myself. And that's what I did. I would text these agents with cute pictures of my sheepdogs. I am the ultimate agent to work with. You want to work with me? This is great. Yeah. I responded to people. I was very active in taking people's phone calls. Whereas I noticed the trend last year was that so many different agents got on board, getting their license. They would get these listings, just like crazy, but then they would disappear. You couldn't get a hold of them. You just couldn't get a hold of anybody, or they were not nice, or they were screaming at other agents. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing that you're having to do that. And I'm so sorry. And so what I did was that I used my personality. I used my strong work ethic. I used my communication skills. And I proved to them that that even though my offer may be lower than the other one, at the end of the day, you need to look at the big picture. You need to
It's
look at,
going to close.
can
It's
we
going to
get from
close.
A to Z and get this closed with minimal problems or zero problems? Am I going to be, I mean, I would literally, if there was an amendment, I would have the amendment to them within 2 minutes. If I had to do a price negotiation, I was kind, I was respectful, I was understanding. You use these listening skills to be able to work with people. There is a way to be able to communicate to people. It's not your way, it's their way. I mean, and I've learned this through 30 years of leading teams in property management and training teams. I mean, and that's what's going to get the deal. And that's what got me all these deals. And I was closing 20 deals a month between in the beginning in Dallas. Well, then this buyer decided that they hadn't been in the Houston market in probably 3 years. So they decided to put me over the Houston market and start working Houston. So I started writing offers come March in Houston, and I developed relationships with a lot of agents that when literally the deal would go so smooth and the communication was so good that these agents would start sending me like off market listings to present. And they would just keep communicating with me because the recurring theme was, Holly, you're so nice. You're so on top of it. You're a great communicator. I didn't have to worry about it. And I write all my own offers. I mean, I don't have an assistant. So I was doing 20 deals a month at least, plus that were in escrow, plus writing probably 50 offers a month for this buyer, all myself.
My gosh.
And I wrote everything myself. And that was what I think stood out, was because I oversaw every aspect of that. I wasn't passing it off to somebody else. Not that that's a bad thing. There are agents out there that feel more comfortable doing that. I personally feel comfortable doing it myself. Then I know it's right. I don't have to, go back and worry about any problems because it's a contract. And I've dealt with contracts my entire life. This is just a different contract. So all the while of doing this, I was studying and I got my accredited buyer's representative certification through NAR. And then I got my new home certification through NAR. And I was a member of REBAC, and I was just constantly learning and, progressing and evolving because, despite, yes, 30 years in the business, sales is sales. I can do this. But at the end of the day, I wanted to be able to, keep growing. And so then, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that was. And so I just used unique methods to be able to reach out to agents. And I used humor. And if I didn't get the offer accepted, which there were plenty of it, I would say, okay, I completely understand. Thank you so much for your consideration. If something should happen, something should change or fall through, please reach back out to me. And they were so blown away by that next thing you know, they would be reaching back out to me. And
it sounds like you do what a lot of them don't. You show up, you do the work, and you do it the right way, and you do business the right way. And I heard the other day that the Houston area, I don't know what it's like in Dallas, but the Houston area has around 50,000 agents. 50% of those did one deal or zero deals in the last 12 months. And so that tells you that the reason they're not responding quickly or at all is because they probably have a full-time job doing something else, and they don't get off work till 5. They don't get home till 6, and then they start responding to you. And it's man, in a business that you're putting the largest transaction of your life in the hands of a part-timer, it blows me away that people would do that. Why wouldn't they, use someone like you? Because you're doing this full time. You have done it, and you do it yourself. You don't farm it out. And I've interviewed many guys that have teams, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's their model. They like it, and but sometimes that's not your model. So I think the main thing, if you're a realtor, figure out what you want to do and do it, but do it with class and do it with integrity. Like it sounds like you do.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I have been in situations even in property management where I was managing multi-million dollar high rise, with rents up to at the time $10,000 a month for an apartment in this high rise. At the same
Man.
time, I'm short staffed. I'm also at the same time working with a developer to open up a brand new property in a whole other city. So I
Mhm.
literally, in that realm, I'm having to definitely engage time management. I'm having to prioritize my day and everything going on with it. Plus, put out fires. Between water breaks and leaks and chaos, happening. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like even if you have a full time job and you're going to do real estate on the side, the communication needs to be there. And
Yeah.
so yeah, even if I had a full time job outside of real estate, I would still be communicating
Yeah.
with people. And
Yeah.
when they
Well,
do anything, I
yeah.
do.
And I know that just going from a salaried position like you do to, or you did from that to commission is tough. And there's a lot of people that have to transition from what they were doing, where they were getting a salary, to a dream that they have to own their own business and be a realtor. I get that. And so when you have to do that, you have to figure out how can I communicate effectively during this transaction, because people like mortgage guys, inspectors, they can't wait till you get off of work to be
Right.
able to do what they do. And so I know you got to figure it out, but you certainly figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I had agents that literally would not respond, or they shut their phones off at 5 o'clock, which I don't do. I've never done that. I've always been even in property management as a manager or what have you. I was on call 24/7. Saturdays, Sundays didn't matter. So
Mhm.
I answered my phone, and so I think that because the market was so crazy the way that it was. A lot of people jumped on board thinking, "Oh, this is real estate. I'm going to get my license. This is going to be easy. It's
Easy money.
fall right, right there." I mean, it wasn't easy for buyers reps, first of all, because that's what I was. I was a listing agent for one home last year, and
So
I was
let
buyers
me,
rep for everything. It's
before I forget the question, what was the most offers you made for a buyer over the last 12 to 18 months? Because I know it's kind of slowed down in the last six, but I've heard some crazy numbers that I wrote 30 offers. I wrote 35 offer this for this one person, and walk me through that number and how long it takes to actually put all that together for just one offer.
Well, for one offer for basically with my corporate buyer, that I probably in the last say 12 to 18 months, I mean, I've written probably over 400 offers.
Mm, my gosh.
Right. It's crazy. But uh, in the come November, everything stopped because the interest rates rose so greatly, over
So
7%.
fast.
You're just like, oh my God. So everybody was scared and everybody was waiting and doing that. So, my buyer shut down, my people shut down. I started to have people in Dallas come to me for rentals. I normally don't do rentals unless it's going to be in my quick little area that I live in,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
because, I just don't really mess with rentals. And so yeah, I mean, probably 300 to 400 offers, but in the last since November, I mean, I've written maybe like 25.
Okay. Okay.
And I just closed a deal in Houston Friday, last Friday.
Okay.
Just closed a
Okay.
deal in Houston. So right now it's just kind of getting, creeping back slowly a little
Yeah.
bit. The ironic thing is, I find it sometimes harder to work with somebody that wants to rent a home than they are to buy a home. But I'm super confident that, I mean, I can honestly say that every person, traditional, corporate, what have you, I have, um, they want their home, they're getting their home. And I
Yeah.
tell them, I'm gonna get the offer accepted for you. And I have. I've not had, for traditional buyers, if they want that home, I've not ever had an offer not accepted.
Yeah. Just because of your reputation of running a good tight ship.
And I have, I have a place that I'm a part of, a group that I'm a part of. It's called Peer Reputation, and it's for fellow agents to kind of like rate how it was working with you, and give kudos and things like that. It also keeps track of
Okay.
all of your sales. And so basically, it's like less than only about 8% of agents, like all over, are what they call, qualified, as far as reputable
Yeah.
agents that are part of this. So I use that and all of the kudos that I've received from other agents, working with other agents that they've given me, to be
Mhm.
able to help in crafting that offer. So if and plus, the big thing that I heard from a lot of agents was that the offers were written sloppy, or
Yes.
that the contracts were not written correctly.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I just found that the consistent theme was that agents are not educating themselves. They're not understanding, how important the contract is and the timelines that work with it. So I would get response from listing agents saying, you wrote the cleanest offer. You're the only one that wrote a clean offer. And it was
Oh my
correct.
God.
Nothing misspelled, and everything was filled out. And if it was a blank, I acknowledged it and said NA, or, and
Man, I'm shocked at the number of times that I get a call that says, "Hey, Mark, what do I put in this box? And what do I check this or that?" I'm like, "Well, what are you not getting the training from your broker, or did you not get the training at?" I don't say this, I help them, but
yeah,
I thought that was what they covered in school, and certainly with the broker. I mean, they ought to be supporting and training enough to at least get a contract filled out correctly.
I mean, right. It's definitely, for me. My broker's in Houston. My broker is a very small brokerage. It's him, and it's three agents, and one's part time. So,
Yeah,
and I'm one of those three. So we don't have a system like that, which I'm fine with, because I chose to work in an environment like that versus some big brokerage like,
yeah,
Keller Williams or what have you, which is not for everybody. It wasn't for me.
right.
And so I had to resource all the training myself, and I taught myself, and I researched, and I learned, and I went on NAR, and I went on Reback, and I went on every possible um, platform that I could possibly do to learn how to write a contract. I read the contract. I would read it and
Mhm.
be like, okay, let me understand, what does this mean. My friend Samantha Hart, who's also a realtor who I work with, and she's, the wife of the lead singer of my husband's band. She
Yeah.
also would help me. I mean, it got scary for me at one point. I'll say the scariest part was when, as a buyer's rep, I'm totally schooled in, like, yes, I can write an offer. I can get an offer accepted. I've got this, right? Well, when I
Mhm.
got a client that was referred to me that wanted to also sell their house. I never sold a house before as a listing agent. I didn't even have a sign.
Okay.
I had no sign. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm only like, I could take you to look at houses and buy a house, but I've not sold a house, even though I can sell a house, but I
Right.
don't have a sign. I don't have any of that. So what am I doing? I am spending 3 days putting the most awesome listing presentation together that I could possibly find. And let me tell you, I researched a lot about the most awesome listing agent, whether it was Tom Ferry or whether it was anybody else
Yeah.
out in real estate that I'm going for. Ryan Serhant, you know, I read his books. I've watched $1 Million Listings since day one.
Yeah.
I love it. So, so yeah, I was winging it as a listing agent. But
So
I got their home sold without anybody looking at it because, and then we got their dream home on almost what was it, 3 acres of land.
wow.
And she wanted to be able to have goats. She never, because she lived in a subdivision,
Okay.
you know, in Forney, and so she wanted to be able to have goats. And ironically enough, the house that she ended up getting, they had these Nigerian dwarf goats, and so we were like, they're like, does your buyer want the goats? And I'm like, oh wow, we get to convey goats in this transaction. This is the coolest
My
thing.
mother used to raise goats, so she would love this story.
Oh my God, it was the neatest thing. And so we go to the house and like, here are these goats, and then they're just all like running around, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so I bought her a little street sign that said Nigerian Dwarf Drive, so that she could put up over there. But again, I mean, you know, that's a prime example of, you know, I've become a listing agent and a buyer's agent all in one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I don't have a sign. I'm a buyer's rep. You know, I'm not a listing agent. So I did the homework and I did what I was going to do. And I went with confidence and went in and said, yeah. And the reason I could do that too is that I built a home. I built a home in the 90s. So I went through that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I own my own home now that I've owned for years. So I've just been around it, and you know, so I just knew what I would think that I would want, you know, presented to me, and then present it in a very colorful graphic design way, like I do, you know, all that stuff. So I mean,
so backing up, so when you started this, what would you do differently than you did this go around, or would you do anything differently? Anything you would change?
Definitely one thing that I would change that I think is that I would get a website. I mean, I'm probably one of the only realtors out there that does not have a website.
Okay.
And that probably would have just helped me, you know, be able to have a little, I mean, although yes, I've got a presence out there that I've done on social media, but social media is hard and people have companies that do that for them, but I do my own social media. I do everything myself. And so I probably would have gotten me a website, you know, starting off, and then been able to also understand in the beginning just how, you know, keeping up with everything. I mean, as a new agent, you know, they're just so they're not. I just don't think the new agents are trained properly. It's not. To me, it's not about going and door knocking on doors and farming areas where you're sending postcards and stuff like that. I mean, it's all about, you know, social media and your online presence and getting out there and meeting people, you know, in other ways. I mean, video marketing, things like that. There's a lot.
You do a lot of video.
I do video. I'm not on YouTube, ironically enough, but I do videos.
Well, you're going to be on YouTube after this, by the way.
Well, this is cool. I'll be able to like upload a video or two on that. But I mean, I'm not afraid to be on video and to do it, but a lot of agents are. So what I've done is that one of the things that I wished I'd done last year that I'm doing now is that I've got a side hustle from everything that I have been through.
I can't believe you have time for this.
I do. I work all the time. But I have a side hustle where I use all of my skills for social media, graphic design, all of that stuff, and workbooks and video marketing and social media and being a newbie agent and putting workbooks together and things like that help agents be able to have like a timeline and be able to set goals and have a strategy because you're pretty much put out there to wing it. And
yes, absolutely. I don't think, and I don't mean to cut you off, but before I forget, is you know, I don't think they have a plan. They
No.
don't know what they're doing today, and they don't know what they're doing tomorrow or Thursday or Friday or whatever. There's no set schedule. There's no database working a database. I'm shocked that some people they don't keep a database at all. You can do that on something as easy as Excel spreadsheets, but a lot of them just get the license and they don't know where to go and what to do, and the brokers aren't offering this great training because all they really, well, I don't want to paint with the big brush, but a lot of them just want your monthly dues. And if you sell something, that's a bonus for them, but they just want you in there to collect your monthly dues. So they don't know what to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I mean, we know exactly what we're doing Monday through Thursday, and then Friday we're trying to work on getting pre-approvals wrapped up for people on the weekend. But we have a set schedule of what we do Monday through Thursday, and it's amazing to me that people don't have that. But that's very, very common.
Right. And that's why I just felt that there was a need to be able to put something like that out there and to
Yeah.
provide some coaching and just kind of elevate. So I'm trying to elevate, to a different level on being able to coach and mentor
Okay.
agents and be able to give them, guidance that I just didn't have. I
Do you
mean,
do you sell some of that stuff on Etsy, or how do you promote that side business that actually would help you and them, in the long run?
well, I've got a website being developed right now, actually, and
Okay.
it's called Big Mutt Media.
Okay, I got to know where that came from.
Big Mutt Media is what it is, and big. Well, the funny thing is, I did a marketing campaign for a property. It was a new construction property, and they were wanting to do billboard advertising, and
Uh,
so I did this billboard sign, and it came from, of course, a '90s song, but I won't mention that on this air. But you get the picture when it said the
yeah,
campaign had a
a
picture.
ZZ Top song.
No, not ZZ Top.
No.
It was more of a rap song.
Okay.
And
Okay.
but I had a picture of my Saint Bernard puppy because I used to have a Saint Bernard at the time. I put a picture of my Saint Bernard puppy, and I'm big. It said, "I like big mutts," and turn here.
Okay, I got you now.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm a huge animal advocate. I'm a huge animal supporter. I am pretty much go from vegetarian to vegan, vegan, vegetarian, what have
Yeah.
you. But anyways, I needed something that really kind of expressed my love for big mutts, big dogs, big mutts,
Yeah.
what have you. And so media is the visual, media that people can have. And so it'll be incorporating. I've got probably over almost 100 documents already prepped for it.
Wow. Wow.
Spreadsheets, financial spreadsheets, social media spreadsheets from Excel, Canva. Gosh, I've designed tons of stuff in Canva. So I have all this ready to go that I'm about to
The
launch
reason
next
I was
month.
asking was because there's a nurse on. I just read it this week. She was a nurse, and she started an Etsy page and business, and so she put her notes from class on Etsy to sell, and
Uh,
she's made over $1 million just selling her notes, to the classes that she took while she was becoming a nurse. So,
yeah.
man, you've got some great opportunity with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I just want, I love to help people. I generally, everybody that I come in contact with or I work with or what have you, I mean, I am generally concerned that I am doing a good job for them, that they are comfortable, that they are, you know, good with everything. And so I find that I love to mentor people. I mean, I've always done that my entire career. In 30 years
Hmm.
of property management, I was a regional marketing director and trainer, actually. So it's like that's my wheelhouse, and that's what I
Yeah.
love to do. And so I've just taken all of the experience that I went through last year, which was brutal, trying to navigate through some of these agents. Uh, and I'm going to continue obviously selling real estate, but also be able to have this also to be able to put out there, because I mean, people just don't realize just how serious being a real estate agent is. I
Yeah.
mean, they think you just go take 180 hours to get your, license. Maybe you'll pass. Maybe, it takes you 5 times to pass the exam. I don't know. But at the end of the day, our whole industry is governed by TREC, and
Yeah.
all of that. So we've got a code of ethics that we've got to abide by.
Yeah.
And we've got to have our game on, and we've got to have the knowledge to know what we're doing and know how we're interacting with people, so we're doing the right thing, and we're
Yeah.
doing the right thing for people. And I think that people get into this business thinking they're just going to make a quick buck. Oh, my friend over here wants to sell her house or his house, let me just
Yeah.
go get my license and I can just do this and it's just easy peasy. It's not. It's
It's
not.
amazing how fast you run out of friends that don't need to sell a house or buy a house.
You know
So
what? For all new agents that are listening to this, if you are new or whatever, your sphere of influence will not help you.
yeah.
It
Okay.
won't. It really, really won't. And it'll save you the heartache from expecting your father, mother, brother, sister, friend, or what have you. Why are they not using me? You know what? Don't focus on that. At the end of the
Right.
day, just be who you are, and be a nice person and be helpful, and share your knowledge, share your
And,
joy,
and
share your
do what you say
positive.
you're going to do.
People will flock to you because of that. People will
Right.
flock to you and continue to flock to you. I mean, it just positive energy out there, So, and
Yeah.
don't get your feelings hurt if people don't use you. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's how you respond to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Right.
understand and I get it, and it's not a problem. But in the future, if you feel like it's something, I can help you, this is what I've got to offer, then
Yeah.
that's it. You got to show them what you can do for them,
Yeah. That's right.
and you got
So,
to be able to educate the buyers and the sellers out there, and um, you
and
know,
that's on top of staying on top of the market in general.
yeah,
And so let
yeah.
me ask you one question, another question. What is one thing you have always wanted to do, but you haven't done yet, and for put it off for one reason or another, but you still have it as a dream that you want to get accomplished? And then this can be either personal or business.
Well, wow. I mean, I've got so many side things I've done. I mean, I'm a choreographer. I'm a fitness person. I was actually training to be a professional bodybuilder at one time. People don't know that.
Really?
I'm also a certified makeup artist, and I also do special effects makeup for making people look all crazy and weird.
Yeah. So
Halloween.
come to you on Halloween to get all dressed up, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they're of course. I'm sure there'll be this real estate agent that sees this, or what have you. But a friend of mine, he was an agent at the time that sold me my house before I got doing real estate,
Yeah.
and so he was going through. He's a cancer survivor, and hopefully he doesn't mind me talking about his story. But anyways, he's got 2 twin boys, so he asked me to come over and do him scary for Halloween. So we talked about it, and it's like he pretty much what I did was I blew his face off. He loves machine guns.
Yeah.
So I created where the whole bottom half of his face is blown off. I mean, it's all
Oh
tendon.
my gosh. Do you have pictures of it?
I do.
Oh, I've got to see that on Facebook.
Um, it's crazy. And anyways, his twin boys that were, I think, like 7 or 8 at the time, came home and they were so
I bet.
scared and just mortified and horrified that years later, it's like I see them,
Wow.
and they're just, and Jeff's like, do you remember, this is Holly? She's the one that blew off my face or what have you. He went to
Yeah.
Walmart and scared everybody in town. Um,
Oh my goodness.
scaring them like crazy. It was quite something.
Okay, you got to send me those pictures. I would love to see those if you
Yeah.
still have them.
So
So
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm very creative, and I've got so many different interests that I can't ever just specifically settle on one, because I'm very open-minded to creativity. So I love to
yeah,
write poems. I like to dance. I've been in dance since I was 3 years old. So
yeah.
I love music. Hence my husband being a drummer. That's awesome.
Is that
Uh,
how y'all met?
yeah, we met through the tribute scene, the music scene in Dallas, and
Yeah.
so and yeah, I mean, it's just we wish that we could have met, in our
30
20s.
years earlier.
Right. I mean, it's
Yeah.
bad when, well, not bad, but you're mid 40s, early 40s, mid 40s, early 40s, yeah, when you're first meeting the love of your life.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, we just want to be able to like rewind back in the day, because back in the day he was when he went to LA, he had
Oh,
long hair. He went to LA trying to be in a band, and me, when I was a child and teenager, I wanted to be a soap opera actress and a dance choreographer. So I
really?
wanted to move to LA and do that. And so I remember thinking, gosh, you went to LA to be a musician. I wanted to go to LA to try to be an actress.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and then of course what happened to me was that, I needed to get an apartment, and the next thing you know, I got in the property management industry, and then there went my life.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You finally met, and I guess you may think, well, we missed out on 20 years or whatever. I guess that makes you turn off the TV more and spend the extra time together, so you can make up for the time that you feel like you've lost. But
I mean, we love to be around each other, and we're known as, the Facebook couple. So
yeah,
people go to shows and they're like, "We see you on Facebook all the time. What have
yeah.
you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, my husband's really, really cool." So
Well,
he's a
you
cool dude.
know,
He's nice. I mean, he's super nice. And the band Desperado, I'm plugging Desperado, Eagles
yeah.
Tribute. Um, all those guys are just really, really nice. So it's like, it's better than seeing the Eagles live. I mean, if you've ever seen the Eagles live, you can almost fall
No.
asleep. And well, don't bother. You could go see Desperado. We actually played in Katy.
Wow, you have to let me know if he ever plays down this way. And my brother lives up in Roanoke, and if I'm ever up there, I'll reach out and see if your husband is playing. I would love to hear him.
Yeah.
We went out to Cynthia Woods Pavilion in the Woodlands. My God, it's been about almost 2 years now, and we got to see Chicago, and that was just
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
And I love those cover bands and the bands that just played the favorites of mine. The Eagles was obviously a favorite of mine in the late 70s and 80s, and man, that would be that'd be cool to go see. So
Yeah.
my final question: I told you 40 minutes would fly by, and
Yeah.
we're 43 minutes right now. But I have my last question. And Holly, I would love to have you back on, because I don't think that we even scratched the surface of a lot of things that you could offer and share about your story.
Yeah.
So I
It's
would
hard to
love
do.
to have you back on. Yeah. And maybe I need to, I have another podcast, and it's called Inside Houston Real Estate. And a lot of times we'll have a guest, and we'll shoot two uh, episodes back to back, so we can keep them about 45 minutes. But there is there's a lot of information that people need or they want to share, and it takes more than a 20-minute conversation. So we may have to start doing that, but I will ask you back if you don't mind.
No, I love
So
it.
my last question:
Okay.
there is a young Holly out there. Not that you're not young. That's not the way that came out really bad. There's another Holly out there that's just getting started in her career, whether it's in real estate or an hourly or a salaried position, and she's thinking about making that change to do something different like you did, what advice would you offer that young Holly?
Somebody that's wanting to do something different than real estate.
Yeah, let's just take it that way. Yeah.
Well, just to find you've got to narrow down your skills and your talents and what you love to do. So you take everything that you've done, not only your entire life, or you're young, and so what are your passions, what are your hobbies, and what skill sets do you have? And you can literally write those down and then start to drill down into each skill set, um, and figure out, well, what can I do with this? So from the 90s, for example, for me, in the 90s, before the computers and before all these programs, I mean, I was working on a word processor, and I was literally like in a typewriter, but I was creating like flyers for my, properties and stuff, and doing all of this, all these graphic designs that I would literally go hand out to people, to
Hmm.
come look at the property, do this, or I'd have events and I would create flyers for events. And I had always done that, but I've never done that as a sole business.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the things I did. I drilled down and thought, wow, I mean, what do I really like to do? Well, I like to create things. I like to create banners and flyers and designs and social media posts. So how can I take what I love to do and make money at it?
Make money at it. Yeah. Yeah.
And so easiest thing is you can look on Google and see what people are searching when you start to type in something, and then you drill down. You just got to find your niche, and it could be several niches. I mean, but
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's trying to look for a get rich quick scheme, like a lot of these things are showing how I made $1 million in 4 months. It's a lie.
Right.
It's all a
Yeah.
lie.
It's a lie trying to get your money in that you already have. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard work to do anything, to be your own boss. Just like being a
yeah.
realtor is hard work, and you've got to put in the work. And I think a lot of people don't think that they just try to not think, oh, how can I get to this point without having to put a lot of work? So a young Holly would be, the advice is to make sure that you are set up, for 6 months to a year, to be able to either do straight commission, but have a side hustle. What other things do you love
Yeah.
to do, and make
Right.
it happen that way? You don't have to be a
Yeah. I
job
think
slave.
the most important thing that you just said is you got to put in the work. You
Yeah,
can't just expect it to happen. So,
it
good,
can.
good answer.
Yeah,
Good answer.
and you don't have to be a corporate slave, a slave to the corporate world, if you want to put in the work. To me, if you're going to just go to your 9 to 5, or because it's an easy paycheck, that speaks volumes to me. You know,
Hmm.
the best people that have been out there and successful have been risk takers, and they haven't always had all the money to do
That's
it.
right.
They find the way, and they're resourceful. And if you can find that one person that will mentor you and be an honest, true person to help you, that wants to help you and not just trying to get your money, that's important too. You
Yeah.
gotta have that one person that can believe in you, and that's hard to find. I've had 3 mentors in my life. 3.
Wow. Well, fantastic. What I tell you what, this has been a very good interview, and man, I can't thank you enough for coming on, Holly. And we'll definitely have you back
Thank
if you don't mind doing that. You can just coach all of us, and maybe even bring your rock star husband next time. He can get on here and sell his business as well. So thank
Yeah,
you so much.
he's a cutie. It's like there, you can see.
Yeah. There we go.
That's at
There we
House of
go.
Blues in
Oh man.
Houston. Yeah,
Well,
and then
Holly, why don't you let us know how we would get in touch with you if we need to get in touch with you, email, phone number. You have your number scrolling across
yes.
the bottom, but go ahead and give it out in case anybody is watching or listening to this on the podcast. They won't see what's scrolling across. So make sure you give that, and if there is an email or a different way to get in touch with you, go ahead and give us that information.
Well, I am on Facebook and Instagram as Explore Living Dallas, but also Holly Bittick Realtor, but mainly Explore Living Dallas on Facebook and Instagram. And then email, super easy, hollybittick@outlook.com. And but yeah, definitely that's where you can always find me, is on social media. So
Yeah.
And Instagram is the place. And so but I have a YouTube channel for Explore Living Dallas. I just haven't posted a whole lot on it yet, but but yeah, definitely Explore Living Dallas, and that's where you can find all of my stuff. So,
are you also on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn as Holly Bittick Realtor. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Holly Bittick. Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, and but yeah, I mainly function through Instagram and my Facebook page. And my Facebook page is really all about I help promote other things that are going on in the area as well. It's more informative than trying to like be salesy and just say, buy a house from me, and this is what the market's doing right now. Every now and then it has something like that, but it's more so about, living in Dallas, or living in the lifestyle, and what it's like to just live in the area in general. And if I can help you, fantastic.
That is so smart. I've got a Living in Cyprus Facebook page, and yeah, I don't like the down your throat stuff. Just always trying to sell me. Just give me information about the area, and when I need you, I'll remember what you did. And so that's a great strategy right there. So that's another, maybe even a third broadcast, Holly. So, but thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you.
Well, guys, I'm Mark Zachary with Next Step Home Loans. I am a broker and owner of Next Step, and we do financing all over the state of Texas. I've been doing this 28 years, so I've helped a lot of people, through this process. So if you need help or if you have questions, like with Holly for the real estate, if you have it on the mortgage side, information is free where I come from. So give me a call. My number is 832-504-9014, or you can go to our website at nextstephomeloans.com. But otherwise, we will see you next week on our podcast. And I just, man, I have so much fun doing this. But Real Estate Pros of Houston, we'll see you next week. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.